Okay, so this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. We got this a week ago and I thought it was going to be a great fit for my DJI Osmo Mobile gimbal. But as it turns out, it is not a great fit for it. If you're thinking about it, don't do it. It doesn't give you real smooth video. And I'll tell you a little more about that in a minute. Anyway, here's the box. It says 64 gigabytes on my box. Sort of true, it's 64, but it's only because you have 32 gigabyte in the phone and then they give you an external SIM card to put in the slot, so you have another 32. So yeah, you have 64, but it's kind of a gimmick. Here on the box it says you have a 4G LTE 1.6 octa-core processor. It tells the size, and then you have a 13 megapixel camera on the reverse side and an 8 megapixel camera on the front, and 32 in memory. We paid a whopping 7,600 Thai baht for it, and you can get this in Thailand, you can get this phone in Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, probably Laos. You can get it all over Asia, but can you get it back in the States or back in England or back in Germany? I don't think so, because when I Googled it, everything that comes up is from Asia, mostly Indonesia. So I don't know if you can even get it there. You can probably get it when you order on eBay, right? You can get anything that way. And I really suggest that you do. This phone is amazing. I really love it for some things. It's sure not good with the gimbal, but it's good for a lot of things. So my wife was kind enough to, she bought it for me, right? Kind enough to give me the pink version. And on the box it says pink gold. It has nothing to do with gold. There's not a gold thing on the entire phone, but it says pink gold. It's not pink at all. I mean, it's not gold at all. So I don't know what that means really. This has a finger scanner. So I used my thumb, and since I cut my thumb, it doesn't work anymore. So I took that off. Anyway, the phone is really quite cool. It's a nice size. It's really well made. It's real solid, you know, it's metal. It's about 4 years ago they started to make the Galaxy Note real strong and real sturdy, like metal. And everybody loved it, you know, everybody's like, wow, that's great. But now every phone that Samsung makes is just like that. So now this is like a Note form factor from 4 years ago, but it's really quite big. It's 5.5 inches diagonal. For me, it's the perfect size. It's bigger than my iPhone 6s, quite a bit. I'm going to show you, hold on. Okay, my iPhone is doubling as a microphone recorder for my voice, so, but you can see this has the case on it now, the iPhone, but you can see the difference in size. Well, with the case there's not much difference, is there? Never mind, because there's a big difference whenever you hold them side to side. I'll have to show you a photo. So anyway, so I had Samsung for a long time. I had the S3, S4, and I think I had the Note 3. It's been a while. But I love the form factor, and I love the size of it, and I love how fast it was, and I love the Android operating system. What I really love about this versus the iPhone is the back button. I just love that. It's always here. I always have to just go here to go back every time. But with iPhone, you know, you're scrolling through stuff and then sometimes you can't even figure out how do you go back, you know? So that's one thing that just, for the iPhone, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes I go up here to click a little arrow that says back. Sometimes in a browser, I have to scroll down in Chrome to find the done, and then I click that. I mean, it's just, sometimes it's over here, down in the lower right. It's just ridiculous. I love to have this button because I can always just click it and go back. And then this one is cool too, because when you click it, it'll show you everything that's open. And guess what, Apple? You don't have to swipe to close everything. You just say close all. Closes everything that's there. I love this phone for a lot of reasons. So we're going to go over 6 reasons that I like this phone a lot, and why it's worth it, and why you should probably buy one. Number 1. The size. It's 5.5 inches versus the iPhone is only 4.7. So there's quite a big difference on the display. When I'm reading something on my Kindle software, I have Amazon Kindle on there. when I'm reading something on there, it's so easy to see, and it captures a whole page, like a real page. And so I can read it in comfort, feels a lot better. To me, it looks a lot nicer, easier to hold, easier to prop up, easier to read in landscape mode as well. It's just better for sure, the size. The size I can see more on the web. As I'm looking at a browser, you know, and I have a web page open, I can see more of the page on there. And sometimes it doesn't even switch me to mobile, it'll just leave the page there and I can actually see it and use it as it is instead of switch to the mobile where it blows everything up. So the size for me is a huge plus. Yeah, you can get it with the iPhone Plus, various versions of the iPhone Plus, but there's many more reasons to like this. The second reason I like this phone so much compared to my iPhone 6S is that it has an 8 megapixel camera on the front that gives much better selfies, and I do the selfie video a lot because this one does work well on the gimbal if I'm doing the selfie, you know, so if it's facing me. So for selfies and anything using the front camera, this one is going to be better than the iPhone 6S. The third thing I like about this phone a lot is that it has expandable storage space, right? So you have an extra slot over here that you can put, it's a big slot. So when this pops out, you can put an extra SIM card in there, but you can also put your memory stick in there, a little micro SD card. And that's really helpful. You can take a very cheap phone and you can add 256 gigabytes to it in storage, like snap of the fingers. And you already have 32 on there, so what's that, 288? 288 gigs of storage on here versus the iPhone. I got a 64 gig and I paid extra for it, but that's nothing, you know, compared to 280, whatever I said, 6. So I just mentioned, another thing that I really like is the 2 SIM card idea. So I'm actually going to give this to my wife because she needs 2 SIM cards more than I do. She has her work phone and her personal phone. She's carrying around both all the time. She has an iPhone 6 and she has a junk phone. So she's going to combine them and just use this phone. I'm probably going to get the iPhone 6 because I'm going to use the camera on that one because it doesn't have optical image stabilization. So I can use it with my gimbal for the rear camera. We're doing like phone juggling here, but I think I got it all worked out. She's going to get this one. Maybe she got the pink because she knew she was going to get this one. I don't know. Possible. I'm not going to say. But yeah, I like it a lot for the 2 SIMs. Another thing I like about Android, it's not so much about this phone, but I really love to have an Android phone, is because whenever you're in File Manager, like I have a Mac computer, right? I have a MacBook Pro, but whenever I run the Android application to be able to access my files on the phone as I'm connected with USB, I see the files on my open folder, I click them and I drag them to my desktop and that's it, done. It goes very fast. The problem is that with iPhone, you have to actually import your photos, all of your photos and videos, into Photos, the app Photos on the desktop, on the computer rather, and then you can export it to your desktop, which is ridiculous because you're using up the space on your computer twice. Who has extra space on a MacBook Pro? I have like 128 gigs because I was too cheap to buy the expensive one, and I don't want to use up all my space. Then you have to go back and delete your iPhotos files, and then you have to go back and delete. I mean, it's crazy. But with this, you just drag your files to your desktop and you're done. You can keep them on your phone or delete them, whatever. It's just very fast. So the next thing and the last thing that I'll talk about today that I like about this phone is the price. You know, versus the iPhone 6S, which is another $100-some. And if you're thinking about matching the memory, the storage, it's far more than that. It's a couple $100 more than this. So I like this for so many reasons. The dual SIM card, the expandable storage, really solid, big screen. The screen is very good. On the color, it's good. You know, if you're not a photographer, you're not going to notice the difference between like high range color, like color gamut, you're not going to notice. It's not going to mean anything to you. Nobody cares except photographers and videographers. You're probably not even going to notice. You're probably not going to care. That's it. That's my review of this phone. Oh, I was going to tell you why I don't like this phone in the gimbal. It's because for whatever reason, as it's in the gimbal, it's facing outwards, so I'm shooting with the rear camera, right? And I'm holding the gimbal. I should have brought the gimbal here. It doesn't matter. I'm holding the gimbal, right? And the gimbal is so smooth, it's like butter, right? It's buttery smooth. The DJI Osmo Mobile gimbal is just fantastic if you have the right phone with it. This phone, as it's like panning a shot, it's panning from left to right or right to left, and everything is the same distance away. Trees are like 20, 30 meters away. There's nothing in the foreground at all. There's nothing close. There's no reason this camera has to focus. Yet when you go like this, the camera goes in and out, in and out, in and out, trying to focus continuously and it's all the same distance from the camera. So it should lock it and it should stay and do like this. And the iPhone does it okay sometimes, as long as there's nothing in the foreground. This one just goes in and out. It's like you're on an alien ship or something. It's just destroys the footage. You can't use this with probably any gimbal, unless you can kill the focusing on it. I don't know. DJI Osmo didn't see fit to kill the focus on this in the software as they're running it, because we have another program called DJI Go, so it makes it makes a camera here. Anyway, that's a whole nother video. You can't use this with DJI Osmo. It's ridiculous, but that's the way it is. All right, hope that helps somebody to buy one. I definitely would buy one. We got ours for 7,600 baht. That's approximately $230 US. We got ours at Tesco Lotus. So if you have one in your country, wherever you are, pick one up. I think they're very solid phones with a lot of cool features, and I'm really glad that we bought it. I wish I could keep it, but as it is, I'm going to have to get rid of my Apple iPhone 6s and get a bigger phone. Whichever one works with the gimbal really that's my main criteria. All right, hope that helps. Cheers.